The only three hybrids I would buy with my own money in 2026. Hybrids: Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, BMW, plug-ins, milds, e-this, e-that. Every brand now has a hybrid. Most reviewers drive them for a week and say they're pretty good. But if you told me you have to put your own money down on just three hybrid systems in 2026 and live with them long-term, 150,000 to 300,000 miles, which ones are you willing to bet on? That list gets short very fast. I'm not picking what's trendy. I'm picking what's engineered to survive. Proven architectures, conservative tuning, and the least number of ways to financially wreck you when the odometer rolls past 100,000. I'm GearHead. I don't care what badge is on the grill. I care what happens when the warranty is gone and you're finally seeing what the engineers actually built. If you want that level of honesty before you sign for a forever car, make sure you're subscribed, because this is where we separate hype hybrids from the ones you can actually trust. Let's go through the only three hybrid systems I'd personally buy with my own money in 2026 and why almost everything else has too many asterisks attached. Number 1. Toyota and Lexus full hybrid or hybrid synergy drive with power split e-CVT. If I had to pick one hybrid architecture to bet on for the next 15 to 20 years, this is it. I'm talking about the Prius, Corolla Cross Hybrid, Camry Hybrid, RAV4 and Highlander Hybrid, and Lexus RX, ES, NX, and UX hybrids. Not the plug-in prime stuff first, the core full hybrids Toyota's been refining since the 90s. Here is how it works in real terms. The core components are an Atkinson cycle gasoline engine, MG1, which is motor generator 1, MG2, the main drive motor generator, a planetary gear set acting as the power split device, reduction gears and a differential, and a medium-sized high-voltage battery, either nickel metal hydride or lithium-ion, depending on the generation. Here is an important fact that people still get wrong. Toyota's e-CVT is not a belt CVT. There is no belt, no cone pulleys, and no sliding ratios in the mechanical sense. Instead, the engine, MG1 and MG2 are all mechanically tied together through the planetary gear set. MG1 and MG2 control power flow via torque and speed, and engine RPM versus wheel speed is managed by software telling the motors what to do, not by shifting gears. That means there are very few moving parts inside the transaxle, no multi-plate shift clutches, no torque converter lockup drama, and no traditional shift shock. Why do I trust it? Because it's been pounded on for over 2 decades. There are Priuses used as taxis with 300,000 plus miles on original transaxles. Camry hybrids doing 200,000 plus in Uber duty still on factory e-CVT units, and Lexus RX hybrids aging out from rust or suspension wear while the hybrid drivetrain still behaves. Common failure patterns are well known. There were early Prius inverter issues which Toyota addressed with extended coverage and recalls in most markets. There are engine-side issues on specific generations, like the Generation 3 1.8-liter, which can have EGR clogs and head gasket failures if owners ignore the coolant and EGR. And there is battery aging after 10 to 15 plus years, especially with poor coolant fan maintenance. What does not show up often? Power split gear set failures. MG1 and MG2 mechanical failures at anything like normal mileage, and widespread e-CVT grenades like you see with some conventional automatics or belt CVTs. Toyota intentionally understresses this system. Engines are tuned for efficiency, not maximum horsepower. Motors are sized for reliable assist, not silly 0 to 60 flexes, and the state of charge is carefully managed around a safe middle band. That's the kind of conservatism you want when you plan to own something forever. What trims and models I'd actually buy? In 2026, with my own money, I'd look at the latest generation Prius if I wanted maximum efficiency and didn't care about an SUV shape. The newest Prius finally doesn't look like an appliance, and it's still running a very familiar hybrid synergy drive. I'd look at a Camry Hybrid or ES300H if I wanted a set-and-forget mid-size sedan with comfort and highway manners. The ES gives a nicer interior with the same basic hybrid guts. And I'd look at a RAV4 hybrid, Highlander hybrid, or Lexus RX hybrid if I wanted SUV practicality. I'd pay attention to rear e-axle harnesses on EHEV models for cable corrosion in salt regions, but I'd still very happily buy one. Why not Toyota plug-ins first? Because once you bolt a bigger battery and charging hardware on top, you add complexity and assumptions about plugging in. For pure longevity, the non-plug-in full hybrids are the cleanest bet. Number 2. Honda EHEV 2-motor hybrid found in the Accord, CR-V, Civic, and Jazz/Fit. Honda hybrid tech has not always been confidence-inspiring. Early integrated motor assists in the Civic and Insight had battery and longevity headaches, but EHEV, the modern 2-motor system, is the first Honda hybrid I'd confidently spend my own money on in 2026. Cars that use it include the Accord Hybrid, CR-V Hybrid, the latest generation Civic Hybrid, the Jazz and Fit Hybrid, the HR-V Hybrid, and variants worldwide. Here is how it works, and this is where it's different from Toyota. The core components are a 2-liter or similar Atkinson cycle gasoline engine, a generator motor attached to the engine, a drive motor attached to the wheels, a single-ratio mechanical link and clutch for direct engine-to-wheel drive at certain speeds, and a high-voltage battery and inverter. There are 3 main modes. First, EV drive. The engine is off and the drive motor moves the car from the battery. This is great for low-speed, light load conditions. Second, hybrid drive or series mode. The engine spins the generator, and the generator feeds the drive motor and battery. The wheels are still driven only by the electric motor. The engine never mechanically touches the wheels in this mode. Third, engine drive or direct mode. At higher, steady speeds, a clutch locks in. The engine connects through a fixed gear ratio to the wheels. The drive motor can still assist or regenerate, but the engine is now mechanically driving the car. So, in the city and at low to medium speeds, it's effectively a series hybrid, engine to generator to motor to wheels. On the highway, it behaves like a very smart single-gear car with electric assist. There's no multi-gear automatic or belt CVT here. That's important. Why do I trust it? With some caution. This system has fewer mechanical ratios and clutches than a traditional automatic. It delivers an electric smooth drive at low speeds. It uses the engine mostly in its most efficient band, especially in series mode, and it drops conversion losses at highway speeds using engine drive. Honda's execution has been refinement first, as EHEV cars drive really nicely day to day. So far, they are reliable, with no big wave of EHEV-specific failures across Accord and CR-V fleets yet. There are normal Honda engine issues if you abuse the oil and cooling, but no hybrid-specific disasters. What I'd actually buy? If I'm putting my own money down, I'd choose the Accord Hybrid for a larger, comfortable sedan that still drinks very little fuel and feels better to drive than many Toyota sedans.
I choose the CR-V Hybrid for a realistic family SUV that's smoother than most and has a proven, efficient hybrid system now. And I choose the Civic Hybrid for compact size with adult road manners and strong efficiency. Why am I okay with Honda hybrids now? Because EHEV is simple enough and has survived its initial years without revealing some devastating design flaw. I still put Toyota slightly ahead for 300,000-mile bets, but if you like Honda's chassis and steering feel more, EHEV is now a legitimate, rational choice. Number 3. Hyundai and Kia TMED full hybrid, found in the Ioniq, Niro, Sonata, Tucson, and Sportage. This is the spicy one. Hyundai and Kia hybrids were new kids compared to Toyota and Honda, and early on I would have told you too soon, wait. But their TMED, or transmission-mounted electric drive, full hybrid system has now put in enough years in the field that in 2026 I'm willing to put my own money on it, with some specific caveats. The cars I'm talking about are the Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid, Hyundai Sonata Hybrid, Hyundai Tucson Hybrid, Kia Niro Hybrid, and Kia Sportage Hybrid. Not the plug-in variants yet, the normal full hybrids. Here's how it works. The layout consists of a 1.6-liter or 2-liter gasoline engine, depending on the model, a 6-speed or similar automatic or dual-clutch style gearbox, an electric motor integrated into the transmission input between the engine and gear sets, clutches handling gear shifts and engine and motor decoupling, a medium-sized high-voltage battery under the rear seats or cargo area, and inverters and controls. So, unlike Toyota's e-CVT or Honda's two-motor system, Hyundai and Kia use a more conventional transmission architecture, add a hybrid motor into that stack, and shift real gears with clutches, not planetary and motor blends. On paper, that's more complex mechanically than Toyota and Honda solutions. So why include it on my would-buy list? Because they've been making this architecture for years now, with the Ioniq since around 2016 and the Niro and others. Hybrid versions have generally shown better reliability than some of Hyundai and Kia's conventional turbo and dual-clutch combos. They tuned the system for reasonable power, not maximum stress. And real-world owner reports on the full hybrids, not the plug-ins, are generally good now. Why do I carefully trust it? TMED still uses a traditional stepped gearbox, so you do have gear changes and clutches, but the electric motor smooths out torque delivery and can reduce stress on those clutches. The engines are usually Atkinson-like, lower output, with the motor adding oomph, a similar philosophy to Toyota, and battery packs and inverters haven't shown mass death patterns in normal full hybrid use. This is my third choice, not my first. Toyota and Honda still win the battle for mechanical simplicity. But if you want a hybrid that feels more like a conventional automatic with real gear changes, strong efficiency, a modern interior with features Toyota sometimes skimps on, and you're okay with good but not Toyota-proven long-term reliability, then the Ioniq, Niro, Sonata, Tucson, and Sportage full hybrids are now on my short list. The models I'd actually pick? The Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid, if you can still find one used in good shape, as it is hyper-efficient and under-stressed. The Kia Niro Hybrid, which is a compact crossover with good miles per gallon and a good hybrid track record so far. The Tucson or Sportage Hybrid if you want a RAV4 or CR-V alternative and are willing to accept slightly more transmission complexity for a better interior and features mix. Why not BMW, Mercedes, and VAG plug-in hybrids, mild hybrids, and random belt CVT hybrids? You'll notice what's not on my spend my own money list. First, luxury plug-in hybrids from BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volvo, and others. The reasons: high-output turbo engines plus complex automatics plus integrated motors plus larger batteries equals a huge part count and thermal stress. They are reliant on plug-in behavior for efficiency, and most owners don't plug in consistently. Long-term reliability beyond 8 to 10 years is still a question mark in real usage. And when things break out of warranty, repair bills often blow straight into "this makes no sense to fix" territory. If I were leasing, whole different story. But to buy and keep, there is too much downside versus Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and Kia full hybrids. Second, mild hybrids with a 48-volt belt alternator and stop-start. The reasons: they're barely hybrids. They add complexity with 48-volt batteries, belt starter generators, and DC to DC converters. Real-world fuel savings are modest versus a full hybrid. You're basically adding more failure points for small gains. I'd rather keep it simple with a good non-hybrid engine or go all in with a proper full hybrid. Third, belt CVT hybrids with unproven reliability. Some brands strap small motors onto belt CVTs that already had spotty reliability records. You're combining a transmission type that already has known issues like belt and pulley wear and slip with additional torque, complexity, and heat. I don't buy that with my own money when proven e-CVT and two-motor and gear solutions exist. The common thread between the three I'd actually buy. Look at Toyota Hybrid Synergy Drive, Honda EHEV, and Hyundai and Kia TMED, and you'll see the pattern. The engine is not highly stressed for maximum performance. It's tuned for efficiency. The electric motor is sized to fill in torque and smooth things, not just to hit brochure 0 to 60 numbers. The transmission architecture, while different in each, is not a science experiment anymore. It's gone through some real years in the field, and none of them require you to plug in to achieve their efficiency benefits. They work as designed in normal use. In 2026, if I'm putting my own money down on a hybrid to own long-term, I want simplicity where it matters, a proven track record, components that are understressed, not maxed out, and minimal dependence on owner perfection like nightly charging to realize the system's promise. Toyota nails that best. Honda now nails it well enough, and Hyundai and Kia have earned a cautious seat at the table. Everything else? Fun to test drive, find a lease, but not what I personally would gamble 10 to 15 years of ownership on. If you want me to break down a specific model, like should I buy a used 2019 RAV4 Hybrid or a 2021 CR-V Hybrid, make sure you're subscribed and drop it in the comments. I'm GearHead. Every hybrid system has a story, and together, we're going to keep decoding which ones deserve your money and which ones just look good on a spec sheet.